Hello, everyone. It's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where, I pick something off my extremely large random movie watch list, play some movie roulette, and my guests and I talk about a movie. And joining me is Chris Roberts. Chris, I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit. I know you've been on the show before, but tell where the audience might find you.
Sure. Yeah. I guess your audience should know me and by now. I think it's my third or fourth time on here.
Yeah.
But Chris Roberts. I'm from the Movie Smash podcast. Over there, we basically have people on, pick a movie that's based on a comic book or a graphic novel outside the MCU, just to sort of show some love to it, sometimes some hate, and figure out, is it worth going back and taking a look at it again? We just actually dropped our barbed wire episode, and it was not as bad as we remembered.
Nice.
But that's the whole point of the show.
There you go. But yes, we do love shameless plugs here. So no matter how many times we'll like to throw out some plugs and, run on our audiences and stuff like that. But what we're going to be talking about this week is from 1969. This is Jenny is a Good Thing. And this is the synopsis on IMDb reads short documentary film about children in poverty. That is short and concise for sure. And this is from director Joan Horvath. This is narrated by Burt Lancaster, of all people, which was one of the more interesting things about this. This is an 18-minute film produced by Project Head Start about nutrition for underprivileged children. And this was indeed nominated for the Academy Award for Documentary Short Film. It's so interesting seeing like the shorts that were nominated for Oscars in the past, because like this would never get nominated today.
No, not at all. And it is interesting looking at those because they're not the categories people mainly watch for. They mainly look for like best actor, best film. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those where it's sort of not like there's like a speed run at the very end of the Oscars, and this is in that category. Mm-hmm. And you're right. And it's funny how it says that I read the same description you did about it being a documentary about poverty. It really isn't. It's really more of a commercial for Head Start. And which is I've got no problem with, but it's interesting how it's sort of snuck its way into the documentary category, and it really is just trying to sell Head Start as a really good idea for the community.
Yep. Which this basically is just an 18-minute commercial for this movement of basically the idea is you have kids who come into this place and have a hands-on involvement in their experience, whether it's, helping putting things together, cleaning up, like Burt Lancaster. I forget exactly how he framed it, but it's like, they're taking some ownership of this and taking some responsibility. It's this from 1969, but this was definitely giving off a lot of that like greatest generation of like, taking on that pride of cleaning up after yourself and making this meaningful. But like it was a nice little experience watching these kids and getting to see them build some sense of community with each other, making these meals. And it's just so interesting looking at the food also from what's this, like almost 60 years ago at this point. And it's just like this is certainly not a lot of the food that kids eat.
Well, it's funny to say. So I looked at it from like two perspectives. One was as I'm just gonna sit there and enjoy it, and it put a smile on my face. I'm not gonna lie. Yep. I smiled at this, seeing I'm a dad. I got 3 kids, and they're older now. So seeing these young kids are sort of kindergartner age, just engaging with each other, and it sort of made me feel the nostalgia for when my kids were that age. And then from sort of a critical analysis, I was looking at it saying I could have fully imagined an audience today looking at this saying it's problematic in so many ways, but it wasn't. It felt like it was more of a question of actually, let me back up. It's a better way of looking at saying the way the narrator was coming across was sort of like, they're learning how to be engaged. They're learning how to, do the work. And at first you're like, do they not know how to do that? Like I've got kids, like they always just did it. But it was kind of cool watching them go at it and sort of, how I put it, like they made their own meals. I like the rules they put in place. Like they had dessert even if they didn't finish their meals. But it was like the message it was really trying to get across was, every kid's an individual. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter the poverty, race, creed, religion, all that. Now he mentions all those things. It doesn't matter where they come from. They're individuals and they should basically be treated as individuals. And it was a
Hmm.
good sort of good warm message at the end of it, which is really what I was smiling at by the end of it too. It's just an interesting lens, the fact that it was from the 60s during the civil rights movement.
Hmm.
And there's some language in there that probably wouldn't fly today,
Yes.
but then again, you got to look at these things from a piece from that time period.
Yeah, and this just gives off that like you mentioned like that commercial vibe of like we're gonna get a really big name actor to come in here and narrate this, get your attention. And it's just like it's one of those kind of like infomercial things. But yeah, it is a charming little thing to see these kids being kids, eating and building that community with each other. It's a nice thing. And that's exactly what it's trying to put off. It's like, well, this is a nice thing. I'll donate some money to this. And you have Burt Lancaster. They're telling you about how great this is. And because the age that I am, I mostly knew Burt Lancaster from like Field of Dreams, which obviously is like him much older, much
Yep.
later in his career. But him just being that just warm, that moonlight gray, just like that just sweet old man kind of vibe. And he was trying to channel that kind of vibe here. Obviously, he wasn't that well, I guess he was like 20 years younger at this point. But it's so funny watching like some of his earlier films now and going back and seeing him in his youth and when he's younger in these films. And this is 100% something that would happen today. You get that like big celebrity person to come in there. Like we see infomercials like this all the time. It's
Yeah.
like the St. Jude ads
Mm-hmm.
like you'll see in like a movie theater, and you have some like big name actors and stuff like that telling why this is so great. Or the one that I keep seeing in theaters is about diapers, and like Selma Hayek just like diapers are dignity. And I'm just like that is just like burned in my brain because I see that ad so many times when I go to the movie
What
theaters.
is a target market for that commercial?
I guess parents like you should get like the idea is it's like the diapers, it's like an organization that gets diapers for underprivileged people.
Oh, okay.
And so like
Not
they're
adults.
trying to get you to give money so that they could, provide diapers in like under economically depressed areas and stuff like that. So
I
like
thought
it's
so.
this
I thought
okay.
Selma Hayek was trying to reach that 80-plus-year-old market.
Well, adult diapers are an industry too.
It's dignity.
It is dignity. But it's it's just like such an interesting snapshot of like a period. And it's like you could see something like this today, to be
Mhm.
honest, because it's like it's not like we don't have economically depressed areas where kids are struggling to have nutritious meals.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, what's cheap? Trash.
Yeah.
Trash food is cheap. And
It
it's
was
hard
funny
to get
watching.
like
Oh, sorry to interrupt, but the part
yeah.
that you're referring that was like it was interesting when you kept saying about the food was like, it's not the best food in the world, but they're learning how to deal with it, that kind of thing. I'm like, man, that sausage and eggs looks really good right now. I'm here having like a breakfast biscuit.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I said earlier that this is like you don't see kids eating this, like this is like yeah, because most of the stuff is trash today, and that is a thing. Like I think this is like I grew up, I didn't have a whole lot of money, and like most of my lunches for school were it's like a peanut butter sandwich and then some things from the dollar store,
Yeah.
and like were they nutritious meals? No, because I bought stuff from the dollar store and they were trash. Like this was like these kids are legit having like meals. And I'm
They're
like,
carving a cantaloupe. They're eating. They're having
yeah,
fruit. They're having sausage and biscuits, and eggs and.
it'd be nice if like people focused on this more for like kids lunches in schools.
Oh
But
yeah.
and that's the thing where it's just like it's kind of depressing watching some stuff like this now where it's just like this is from almost 60 years ago and why is this still a problem?
It's while watching, I kind of said to myself too, like I kind of wish we had these kind of infomercial ish things today, not
Yeah.
necessarily for fundraising purposes, but sort of educate a little bit. But where would we put them? Like we can't. The nice thing is back when I was growing up, like on a Saturday morning cartoon, you had the GI Joe PSA at the end. Like I had to watch it because I didn't
Yeah,
want to miss any moment of GI Joe. Because if I switch channels, it's to the Care Bears. I wasn't into that.
yeah.
So now you can't really sort of squeeze this 10-minute infomercial about nutrition anywhere. Like you can maybe put it at the beginning of in the theater or something, but none of people go to the theater anymore. And not everyone sits around for those commercials at the beginning. They sort of come in at the last minute because now their seat is assigned, so they don't have to sort of wait there and get there early to hold onto that seat. Man, those are the days. Show up like an hour early to a movie because that's that good seat in the middle, not be stuck breaking your neck at the front row.
Well, and you
The
bring up a lot of interesting points because, like, the reason I see those diaper ads at the movie theater is because I am that kind of person. Like, I have to be in my seat before the trailers start. Like, I'm very particular about theater etiquette. I'd be like a tyrant if they hired me as an usher because I'd be like, what are you doing? Because like that's the thing. A lot of people, like I sit in the theater all the time and like I'm the only one here. And then it's the second to last trailer, and then five people show up, and I'm just like, this is what people do today. I'm going to the even when they do go to the theaters, they're not showing up and seeing those ads beforehand. And and most kids aren't watching television to watch shows. They're watching streaming services.
yep.
And their parents probably pay for no ads. So like there's not really that to your point, there's not really that opportunity. And I think it would be important. You would think that they would have stuff like this in school.
Oh yeah, and like to go back to the kids and the eating too, they were not just eating well, they were teaching them how to cook it.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is just like for my kids, once a week they each have to cook one night a week when they're
Okay.
here because it's sort of teaching that skill set. I don't when my daughter talks about sort of how hard her lifestyle is at our house, I have to cook once a week. Her friends are sort of disturbed, not disturbed, but sort of are in awe of her cooking skills. Like she'll bake something randomly. They're like, "Wow, how hard, that's so amazing! How do you do that?" And it was like, food doesn't come from a store made. I mean, you can, but it's far more expensive that way. No, it's so this documentary was showing that little kids can do not just eat the food, but also make the food and give them life skills. And I wish we had more of that sort of education that sort of in various places. And you're right, schools might be the only place to play it. But I
Yeah.
bet you there'd be some group out there saying, don't teach my kids this for some odd reason. There's some crazies out there. They'll find something wrong with
I
a kid about making sausages or something.
I have a whole entire like I work in higher ed. So like I'm at the end of the pipeline. I have so many thoughts on our education system, but I'm not going to turn this into like a 2-hour discussion
Yeah, you
about
might
this
be
film.
fired.
But I wish somebody would bring these things up. But that's the thing. Like my experience is, and I grew up in the same household with my grandparent, my maternal grandparents, my mom, my brother, and I. My grandmother would not let us touch the stove.
Mm.
She's like, "You're not breaking my my oven and stuff like that." I think deep down, though, I think it was more of like a traditional perspective. Like I'm a man growing up, and like my grandfather didn't do anything. He'd even like shake his glass and be like, "Virginia," to my grandmom to go get him another glass of whatever the hell he was drinking. And just like,
Yep.
dude, get up, go pour yourself something. Like I didn't learn how to do laundry until the year before I went away to college because also my grandmom wouldn't let me touch the washer or dryer. And then my mom's like, he's going off to school. He needs how to do these things. And here's the thing, I can cook. And like I have specialties in specific places that I cook because like areas that I cook, because like to be honest, I don't have the most diverse palette of eating. Like I can cook and it's an important skill to have. And I think this film I appreciate so much of the message of this film. And I'm just like, where did this get lost in the past 60 years? So like it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I think we could circle back around to this because like I know I took a home ec class in middle school. Like I learned how to use a sewing machine and did cooking. I don't know how much that's focused on in
Well,
schools today.
yeah, it's I've got kids, like I said before, and they'll put a hole in their clothes and I'll sew the hole up, or my wife will, or whatever. My kids are always like, how do you know how to do this? Like it's some lost art from the ancient times. Same thing as I had a home ec class. I had a home ec class. We learned how to cook. We learned how to sew. I remember telling, I was like, I made my own pair of shorts once in home ec. Like, you can make clothing. You don't need machines. It's like, what do you think? What do you think? Medieval people did. We'll walk around naked, just have like a piece of like fur on their back or something.
There's whole jobs where people made things.
It's where the name Taylor came from. They were the tailor.
The Smiths, like they were smithing something.
Exactly. Like, they didn't call him Smith because they liked the way it sounded. That was literally their job. It was John the Smith.
So yes, moral of this movie is if you watch this, it will just be like, where did this get lost somewhere? But I guess like my final thoughts are, I think it did put a smile on my face. It is very much like a commercial infomercial for this organization. And it's just not the kind of thing you see a whole lot anymore because consumption of media has changed. And where would people watch this, to be honest? It's like, what's an infomercial? I'm like, the things that I used to watch when there was nothing else on TV.
Yeah, like the fake talk show where they're the guys like the Chop Block or the Sham Wow, all those great infomercials.
I watched so many Guthrie Renker infomercials about CD sets and DVD sets and all of those things back when, you couldn't just hop on a streaming service and watch whatever the hell you wanted.
Oh,
so see now I'm not like, it's so funny because I work with college students. I'm like, I'm not that much older than the college students, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm 15 years older than these freshmen at this point. It's a generational difference, and things have changed a lot in those 15 years. So, but yeah, I guess Chris, final thoughts you have.
Oh, that's what I say. My final thoughts for it too. It put a smile on my face. I think if you want a good sort of like peek into the past, go take a look at it. You're gonna smile. It's a short little film. It's not gonna hurt you. It's on YouTube. It's just interesting looking at that time period and saying to yourself, like you said, where do we go wrong on a couple of things? Like, how did we lose this? And how do we get it back? And it's just, like I said, it's going to put a smile on your face. You're going to wonder sort of like, could they have done more in this category of films? And it's not a hard-hitting documentary. Like when I went to this, when you said, Chris, we're watching a documentary, I was thinking to myself, okay, what grisly murder did Jane do? Because Jane's all right. I was like, okay, did she survive the grisly murders? Like, what happened here? And it's like, it's sweet. Yeah. It's saccharine. It's not hard hitting, but it's going to put a little smile on your face. And you're going to say to yourself, like, I wish I could go back in time and teach my kids some of these skills better. Based on these little things. Like they had a whole thing about opening a cantaloupe. Like, how does it feel? What is this? What is a cantaloupe? Oh, describe the cantaloupe to me. And they're tapping it and they're like, here's how you tell if it's fresh or not. And you're like, I don't even know how a cantaloupe is fresh. I just pick one up and hope to God that I got the right one.
And then I get home and cut it open and it's just like, oh.
Yeah, it's rock hard.
And I honestly, watching this is making me more mindful of when I have kids, that I'm just like, I'm going to make some decisions here. Like, at some point, they're going to be like, I'm going to be your little sous chef, like helping out in the kitchen and stuff like that. Like, start these things and maybe, they'll learn skills that a lot of their peers don't have.
Exactly. And tonally, this movie reminds me a lot of like old shows like The Electric Company or those PBS shows. Yes. Like a Sesame Street. And that's not a bad thing. It's just sort of that down to earth feeling that just a lot of things are all sort of hyper fast and sort of loud and sort of quick and sort of what's the word I'm looking for, manic. It doesn't have any of that at all. It just slow down to earth, and it's not gonna open a world of knowledge to you or anything like that, but it's gonna make you feel good.
And yeah, it doesn't have that kid pacing. It takes its time in these 18 minutes and shows you something nice. And we could appreciate that in 2025, because how often does that happen?
Exactly.
But Chris, thank you so much for coming on and chatting movies with me.
Always fun.
And thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. Do you have any of those infomercials that you used to watch that like still stick in your mind? I still I actually subscribed to the YouTube channel for the Midnight Special because I watched so many of those infomercials about that old late night music and comedy show that used to be on television decades before I was born. And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. If you want to join the crew as a guest or start your own podcast, make sure to reach out to us. And we also have a nice wide range of different kinds of shows that you could appreciate and take in, keep you busy, give you plenty of content. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network.